Well, sorry, you guys. That was very bizarre. I don't know what in the heck happened. All of a sudden, my phone just completely froze up. Let me go back and make sure we are live again. Very strange. I don't know what happened. But as I was saying, that the Stampin' Rewards program has now changed. So now you will all start earning your rewards to use on your further purchases once your item reaches the $20 limit, and then you're going to start receiving those rewards. So make sure you opt into this so you can get those rewards to use. Yes, Kimberly, live again. I don't know what happened. Like I said, my phone just kind of froze up on me. Who knows? Oh, look, there's a piece of black paper there. Right now, for our paper pumpkin, we are in the Majestic Mountains for the month of May. That's kind of a tongue twister there. Majestic Mountains for May. This is going to create your Father's Day cards with layered mountain landscapes. This is going to make 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs with 9 coordinating envelopes. It's going to come with some pre-cut vellum and paper pieces, watercolor card bases, and coordinating envelopes. And it says that it includes the vellum pieces for layering and sentiments tailored to men. So as you can see in this graphic right here, that you've got Father's Day, you're the greatest, best dad ever. So fabulous for Father's Day, birthdays, and beyond. This current paper pumpkin is available through May 10th. So be sure to go into my online store. So now the way Paper Pumpkin works is you no longer have to go to a separate website. You can subscribe right from within my online store. pinkbarnstamper.com is my blog, and my store is www.shopdannygarola.com. So you can check out things on Paper Pumpkin on my blog, and you can subscribe right in my online store at shopdannygarola.com. Okay, so that looks fantastic. Here is the add-on that you can also purchase within my online store to coordinate with your paper pumpkins. Now, the way these work is when you purchase this, this coordinates with our quarterly paper pumpkins. So for this quarter, we had April, May, and June. So they show you right here which ones coordinate with which kit. So April has this great little hugs. June has the flowers and the leaf here. And then May has this great little sentiment banner. Love that. So these are always great because they work for, like I said, for the full quarter. So that's kind of awesome. I still have my registration open for the annual catalog paper share. So paper share is where you get a sample of all the upcoming new paper. There are a couple of different options when you go to my blog, pinkbarnstamper.com. Once you're there, you can go over on the right-hand side and in the categories, you can click on paper share. It's going to take you right into this. So then you can see all the papers that I have to offer, including the optional or the different options that you can add on to that. So this is available through May 4th. So it is closing shortly. So make sure that if you want to get your hands on our new paper in that new catalog that is getting ready to debut, that you will be ready to go with samples of all that paper from that catalog. So like I said, you can go register over on my blog for that. Okay, let's get this stuff out of the way here. So the first thing that we are going to talk about in this kit So the kit would come to you looking a little something like this. You're going to get your envelopes for your 3 cards. You're going to get all your cardstock. Now do know that when you go to create your card, you are going to find your inside pieces of your card on the back side of your card base. So I like to put them like that so then you know exactly where everything is and where it gets placed on your card, so it's no confusions. You will get a step-by-step tutorial sheet to show you how to make this. There is colored photos on that as well. So it's a fantastic way to get you crafting. Again, this class is intended to use the She's the Greatest. This is not included in your kit. This is something you would have to purchase if you don't already have this, or you can always substitute any stamp set that you already have. I just really kind of wanted to focus in on Mother's Day, Grandma, those kind of cards, since we are closely upon Mother's Day. So this stamp set is pretty fabulous because you've got in-law, so then you can put any of your, you know, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, you can put any of your other words with it. It even has the word human. So it says world's greatest human. That would be kind of cool. It's neat because they're all kind of separated, so you can place them around in different orientations as you see fit. So you have grandma, you've got mom, you even have plant. So say somebody is a plant mom, that would be cute for them. You have the word mum over here. Some people call their moms mum. You've got your pet, cat, and dog. They've even included our little pets because a lot of us are pet parents. So you've got grandma. So just a really, really fabulous stamp set. There's also a stamp set in masculine form as well that is kind of like this. I think I actually have it as well. It is called He's the Greatest, is the masculine version of this. So as Father's Day gets closer, I will start using this one, but I really wanted to focus on the She's the Greatest. But as you can see, we also have one for those masculine cards as well. So we're going to be using She's the Greatest. I'm also going to be using the media paper. This is the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Now, why do you use watercolor over just regular cardstock? Well, you could use cardstock, but I did create a card or a piece so I can show you why I prefer to use the watercolor paper, this media. So here is just a regular piece of cardstock. Can you see how warped it is? Because I have added water to this and then I have done my technique over it and it really warps your cardstock. Now, I guess you could probably manipulate it to being back straight as you would need it, but I don't think it works all that great that way. So I've decided to bring in the media paper because it does hold water a lot better because that is what it is made for. I feel like we're kind of shifting here, so let me fix that. Sorry, don't mean to make you guys sick. So I am going to be using this. This is, you can purchase this right on the my store. You can order this from there. So we are going to get started. I am going to be using a couple of other things and I do want to share that with you because they are on a great deal right now on top of that. So if you don't already own the Painted Lavender stamp set and the Painted Lavender dies, both of these items are in the last chance. Now, this stamp set here is all about your lavender, your butterflies, your beautiful little floral images. This is regularly a $20 stamp set. It is in our last chance products for $14. The dies that coordinate along with this, as you can see, this die here cuts this bundle here. You've got the other little florals that do your other images. And then you've got some standalone, really neat little dies that cut out some more foliage. So this die cut here is going to come with, this has, let me see, this has 11 dies in it. This is regularly $32. Last Chance Products is $16. So why am I showing this to you? I'm showing this to you because if you have gotten your hands on that new catalog, which I have got those sent out to my customers. Hopefully you guys have all gotten your hands on that. The Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper is carrying over into that new catalog, that new annual catalog for 2025, 2026. And this stamp set and die coordinates so well with this Perennial Lavender DSP that you really want to get your hands on this. And why not when it is that fantastic of a deal? So I just want you guys to be aware of that, that paper is continuing into that new catalog, and it does pair perfectly with this stamp set and dies, just so you're aware. And I'm going to be not using the stamp set, but I am going to be using one of the foliages out of the dies for this. The other item that I'm going to be using as well, this is called the Changing Leaves. This set is carrying over, so you will find this in the new catalog as well. This is the big die I'm going to be using for this. I'm going to be using this leaf right here. So when I cut it, I'm going to make sure that I just line the paper up, and it's going to cut some other things. But this has a hybrid die that goes with this, so that's why it's all together like that. But I will, I'm going to show you guys that here in a minute when we get to that card. Also, the other thing that I wanted to let you guys know is that the Wild Wheat, because these are colors that are going to be retiring, the Wild Wheat Stampin' Blends are regularly $11. You can pick these up for $6.60. These are still available. Also, the In Color Designer Series paper for the 2023-2025. It is a pattern paper, a 6x6 pack. Those you can pick up right now. Normally $12.50. You can get that pack of paper for $7.50. And the 2023-2025 In Color Stampin' Write pack, which is going to come with all 5 of your colors. It's going to come with your markers in all 5 of these colors here. It was originally $17.50. You can pick that up for $10.50 right now. So there are plenty of things for you to grab that coordinate with your fabulous in colors that are retiring. So I just want you to be aware of that. So if you don't already own those, you might want to grab those. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our first card. So our first card that we are using here. So one thing I do want you guys to be aware of is when we are looking at our watercolor paper, it's not quite very vanilla, but it's also not white. So you really kind of have to decide which color you want to place it on. You could actually put it on the white. It would probably be maybe closer, now that I'm looking in camera, it actually looks closer to white than it does very vanilla. So actually, I think I'm going to go with my original plan, and I think I'm going to use the white. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty close. So this piece, or let's go to back to our card base. Our card base is 11 by 4 1/4. I am going to score this at 5 1/2. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fold that over and give that a good crease. That is our thick, basic white cardstock, by the way. I have our 100 fluid watercolor paper here. Now this is going to measure 4¼ by 5½. So it's going to be the full front of my card. Now I can cut this down if I decide that I don't like that full look. So we'll kind of just play it by ear as we get playing around. I'm also going to use a scrap of black and then just a smaller piece for a sentiment here. And then I grabbed another little 1/2" piece of my watercolor paper so I could possibly put this on the inside if that's what I choose to do. So the first thing I need to do is I have taken my size D block. Now I already have mine done, but I'm going to show you how to do this. I also have a bag of rubber bands. You don't have to have a bag like this. You don't have to go out and run and buy one. Sometimes your mail comes with rubber bands around it. But what you need to do is just take your rubber bands and kind of place them on your block like so. You can kind of angle them how you wish. I like to keep it straight on there. You can twist it if you want the twisted look. I just don't care for the twisted look. And then you're just going to kind of take these and straighten them back out on there. Like so. You're going to grab another one. And if you have one of these great big rubber bands, I wrap it twice. So then you don't have a lot of crazy play in there. Okay, so there's that. And this one is a little bit thicker, so it is going to give me a little bit of a different look to it. So I might place that right there and then take the other one and place right over there. And then in here are some pretty thick. I like the different textures. As I shoot them everywhere. Okay, so see how this one's a little bit thicker? We could place that one there. So you get the idea. You can go over each other. You can keep them all straight if you want. If you want to angle them like so, and then move your other one over a little bit, put it in there where you've got one that's just kind of overlapping all of them, it will work. Just so you get the idea there. Or if you have a brayer, the Stampin' Up brayer, all you have to do is take, so see how these little things come out? If you take that and push it, you can pull your little brayer end right out. So see these things open? That's what this little touching part is. So you can take this and you can actually put your rubber bands right on your brayer. Again, straighten them out or keep them twisted, doesn't matter. I just take some of these smaller blue ones like that. Take a thicker one here. And this I can wrap around and go the other end. So it's not going to be perfect because it is going to be continuously rolling. So you get the idea. So you're just going to put a couple of those on there. And you can spread them out. You do have a little bit more length with your brayer. So you can put them on there like that. Do another one down here. Like so. And then all you have to do to put this back on there is you push it back in that hole and then pull on your little tab here and place that back in, just like that. And now it's ready to go. If you don't want to do the block technique. So there's two different ways of placing your rubber bands on there. So for this first card, I'm just going to use my block. And I need my Versamark ink. I'm also going to use now you can use clear or white for this technique. So I'm just gonna grab my clear because that was the one that I had handy here, and make sure everything is off there. I'm also going to grab my little Stampin' Buddy here, get that on there to get all the finger lint stuff off. I am going to turn my fan off because I don't want any of my embossing powder flying around crazy like. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go just in the center, and I'm just going to apply even steady pressure, but I don't want to press too hard because I don't want my block, because my block is picking up some of that ink. I only want the ink on the rubber bands. And then I'm going to go this way. Just again, just applying the steady pressure of that, the rubber bands. Okay, I'm going to pick that up. I'm now going to take my clear embossing powder. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hold this over here. And hopefully you guys can see that powder on there. And it's just going to give me just a little pattern on the print of this paper here. So now I am going to take my embossing powder and we are going to grab our heat tool and we are going to heat up this clear embossing powder. Now again, I am using the watercolor or the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. So I am embossing on this. So this paper can pretty much do anything that your regular paper can do. You can stamp on this with your StazOn. You can stamp on it with your Memento Black. You can do anything you want on this paper, but let me show you what we have planned with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my boho blue and my wild wheat ink here. I'm also, actually, let's go ahead and heat emboss this as well since we already have this stuff out. This was that inside piece that I had said that I wanted for the inside of my card. So I'm just going to go a couple of different ways here on this. Now I am going to grab that clear embossing powder again. Okay, just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to put this out of the way, and I'm going to grab that heat tool again. This time I'm going to grab my tweezer so I don't burn myself. It's kind of hard to see, but you'll see that clear embossing powder kind of do that little melting. You'll see it better on some of the other cards that I'm going to make using this technique, but I just want you guys to see this. Okay, there is that. Now we're going to take this, and I also am going to be bringing in my little mat here that I have from my Stampin' mat, and I need just some paper towel. So I'm going to open up my wild wheat, and I'm going to open up my boho blue, And I'm going to grab that piece here, and we're going to set this here as well. Now I do need to have a water painter. So I'm just going to get some water off on this, just like so. You can grab ink from here and put it over in here to really get that kind of a soupy look. You can keep it in the back of your pad. That works as well. I just like to grab quite a bit of color over here. Okay, and I already messed up. What you're supposed to do first, let me grab this brush here. This is the big, thicker one. Now it comes with 3 different sizes. What you want to do is you really want to get your cardstock nice and wet first, where you're going to be adding that color. Now, since I only have the image here in the middle, I'm going to stick primarily to the center of this. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to add some of this color on here. Now, I'm not applying any water from this because since I just got this paper wet, the color is already there. So let's get all that, and this is why I need a paper towel, is to, when I'm going to add the next color, I don't want my colors mixing. So I'm going to close that up for a minute, and we're going to come over here and we're going to grab the, now what I have done to get that color in there is I just grab my pad and I just squeeze it, and that adds color to the back of my, my ink pad here. So I'm going to come over here and just get some more of this color here. And then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to dab it again. Right up in there. Come down here. Add some more of that color. Okay, that looks good there. I need a little bit more right there. And you can keep dabbing as dark as you want. And then I'm just going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to kind of blotch it off just a little bit. And then that's going to take just a couple of seconds to dry. It dries actually pretty fast. So while that's drying, we could do our other parts of this card. Okay, so let's go ahead and move these water painters out of the way. Move this out of the way. And so can you see where that resistance from where we just did the clear embossing, it has kept that from getting any color under it because we've just melted that embossing powder on there. So it really adds a really cool effect to your card base. Oops, I forgot to do this one. Let me come back over here and do this, because we need this for the inside of our card. And see how that paper did not warp and it didn't like get itself all like wrinkly? That's because we used that water fluid paper. So I'm just coming in with both colors here just to give that same look on the inside. So now we're going to set that over there, let that dry as well. Okay, we can move all this stuff out of the way. Sorry, I had to turn my fan back on. Okay, set that up there, let this dry. Now we're going to come in with our scraps here. So on our little piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that She's the Greatest. Hello, Vicky. And I'm going to stamp a sentiment on this. So I'm going to use, we're going to do love you. Love you, lady. Love you, lady. I always say that to my mom. I'm like, I love you, lady. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is, again, I'm going to grab my Versamark pad. I'm also going to grab my embossing buddy here. Want to just run that across there a little bit, add some of that powder to it. Going to stamp "Love you, love you, lady, love you, lady." And then we're going to take our white embossing powder this time. Whoops. Helps if I hold on to it. My tweezers are sticky. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this, close this up, and then I'm going to heat emboss this. Just like so, with the white. Okay, I'm going to need my paper trimmer for just a second. We're going to cut this. Try to get that pretty straight. Thank God I got my words pretty straight. And we're just gonna cut that like so. So there's our little label that we're going to need. And then I'm going to bring in the bow punch here. And what I need to do with this is I am just going to come across and just punch both of those little foliage pieces out like so. So this is where we can decide if we want to use the whole front. We're going to take this little piece here and I'm going to just kind of make a little slant at the end, just to add a little something. We're gonna take our little leaf. Oops, I missed the end of that leaf. I gotta cut it again. Where did I put that scrap? How did I do that? Oh. There we go. That's a better one. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this is I'm just gonna grab my glue and I'm going to turn this over and I'm only going to add glue to the stem. And I'm just going to place that right over the center-ish of that. And you can pick your little leaves up and let them have some dimension like that. With our little Love You Lady, I think I'm gonna actually cut this down just a bit more. Taking about a hair off of there. There we go, that's better. And I'm gonna use some mini dimensionals on the back of that. If I can find them. Oh, there they are. And I'm gonna use the black. Like so. I don't know why this thing keeps falling down. Hold tight, you guys. I'm gonna jiggle you around just a bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better. There, now you're more on me. Okay. And then we're just gonna take this little piece here. Why does it look like that end is so much? There we go. And I'm just gonna place that right in the center, covering that bottom of the stem, just like that. Then I am going to grab, I have some little embellishments here. Now these are sold out, but I know a lot of you probably have these in your stash when these colors first came out. So I'm gonna grab, two of the wild wheat. I'm gonna do one right down here, another one, well, if I can get a hold of it. We're gonna do this one right over here. And then I'm gonna grab a little boho blue. Actually, I'm gonna put this up over here. There we go. And this paper is pretty much dry now. So I can place this over the whole top here, which is, I think I'm gonna do that because then we don't have to see the different tones of the white. So I'm just using my Stampin' Seal or Snail Seal. Yeah, that's what it's called. Okay. And holding the front of this card, we're going to just place this right on there like so. Okay, we have this little piece for the inside. So I can run this down the full inside. I can go across here, which I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna add some seal to this. And I will just place that right along the bottom here. And then cut off the excess. Like that. So we've got that same watercolor in the inside. Now you could take your little piece and try to tuck that in there if we want to put that in the bottom of the inside. Not sure if we can get it. Yeah, it'll go underneath there a little bit. You can put that in there like so. Just put a little bit of glue on that. And we said, love ya lady. What I think I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna cut just a little bit of this stem off because I don't want it quite that long. And I'm gonna put that right there. Just like so. And then let's decide what we wanna say on the inside. Now this is where we could take more of our embossing powder and we could do, hello Cheryl! And we could do the black embossing powder on the inside of this. I'm going to put "You're the Best" in the inside, but I'm just going to stamp in black. So then I don't have to worry about any more embossing here. So what did I just say? You're the, or we have for the coolest, we have, no, I think "You're the Best" is going to work better on that. Okay, let me grab my memento. Okay, I'm gonna put this right in the center here. Just like that. You're the best. Now, the cool thing is you do have a little plant here. You have some little florally stamp set. You've got your little pets. You could do pets down here. You could do your flowers, even do a flower up around here. You could go as much as you want on this card. That's what's kind of neat about a big stamp set like this that has so much to it. You can add so much to your card. So there is a fun, simple way of doing our rubber band technique and doing that emboss resist. So you can kind of see that texture in the background where that clear embossing powder has resisted the watercolor that we just did. Okay, so there's the first card. Okay, let's do the second card. Now the second card, I am using Moody Mauve for this one. And this one does not have any watercolor paper with it. So our base is Moody Mauve. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. My next piece is 4 by 5 1/4. That we are going to set aside. Then I have a piece of, this is my gold foil. This measures 2 3/8 by 4 5/8. And that means this is 2 1/4 by 3.5. And so what we're going to do is set all this stuff aside. This is what we're going to do our technique on. So again, I'm going to grab that Versamark, and I'm gonna grab my rubber band. Gonna use my little powder here, and I'm just going to use, actually, you know what? I'm thinking I should probably use this so I can show you guys how to do that. So let's just do our brayer brush. So you really want to make sure that's good and inky, just like so. And then you can take this and roll this up. Okay, let's roll this way. And then let's roll this way. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave that the way it is. I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder this time. Shut my fan off. Hello, Anna. Sorry, you guys, if you guys were on the first video. I don't know why my phone just all of a sudden froze up. I'm glad you guys were able to come back and find me. Goofy technology, I tell you. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to flip it around. Okay, just like that. Tap that paper off a little bit. Okay. I'm going to keep that tweezer on there. Where's the lid? Cover this up. Let's bring in our embossing tool, our heat tool. And we are going to heat this up. Okay, let me make sure that's all melted, and that looks pretty good. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my blending brushes here, and I am going to be using Moody Mauve. So I need one that has Moody Mauve ink on it. So what I'm going to do with this is I am going to move all this other stuff. I'm going to grab some of that ink and I'm going to go very light with this. And I'm going to apply the ink right on top of that embossing. Now, again, you can make this as vibrant and as dark as you wish. I really kind of like it on the lighter side. I think you can really see that gold much better when your color's not too crazy. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now we're done with that. So there is my inked up rubber band technique. So now I'm going to adhere that to my gold piece. Now to make this pop even more, I like to take my paper towel and just rub right over that ink to kind of pull that ink off of my embossed powder there that I've just heat set. Then it gives it more shine to it. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my card back in here. I also have my gold twisted thread. Now again, this is in our last chance products as well. So I think, let me check. I thought I looked at this and I thought for some crazy reason it might have been on sale, but now I can't remember. Let me look. It is on last chance and it is $7.50. Mine has completely come off the spool because I've messed with it so much. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to take this, hold my end on the back, and I'm just going to wrap this 3 times. And then cut that pretty much where it sits with the other one. These are not my ribbon scissors. So now I'm just going to grab a little piece of tape here, and I'm just going to tape all that down. So then that just stays right there. And so there is my little piece of trim, and you can move that around wherever you want it, spread it out, just like so. Now, we also had another, where did I put that? Did I leave it in my envelope? I thought I had a piece of black sitting here. Is it under here? Did I not grab my black scrap? Unless I put it in with one of my other cards. Huh. Well, let me grab a piece of black scrap because I thought I had it. And apparently, let me make sure I didn't throw it in with my other card here. No. This should work. So I have this piece of black. This is where I'm going to be using the painted lavender dyes. I'm going to use this piece right here. Let's see if that's going to actually work. Ooh, it's gonna work perfect. So I'm gonna die cut that really quick. I can't pick up my die cutting machine yet, so I can't bring that over to you guys. The weight of it is just a little too heavy for me to still be lifting that up yet. Yeah, when I went in for my post-op, my number one question was, when can I get in my hot tub? And he goes, well, you need to wait at least a month out from surgery before you decide to go get in a hot tub. I was like, geez Louise, that's not what I wanted to hear. Because I had seen him, it was about a little bit under, I saw him like on the 10th day after my surgery. And so he was like, no, you definitely can't get in there yet. Okay, so I'm going to take this little piece. Now see how it fits nicely underneath that twine there? I'm going to just add a couple of dots of glue, again, just down the stem, because I want some of those leaves to be able to be manipulated and popped up. Okay, so that is just gonna slide right underneath there, like so. And you can really see that neat technique behind that black image. I think that is so stunning. Now wait till we get this card done. It's really gonna pop off of this card. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm going to pop this up right on my white piece here. So I'm gonna grab some dimensionals, if I can find them. There they are. I'm just gonna use 5 dimensionals, 1 in the center, 2 in the top, 2 in the bottom. So those of you who have requested catalogs from me, I will be getting those out in the mail this week. Now, if you are a customer of mine, you should have already received your catalog, hopefully. If not, give it until the beginning of the month. Stampin' Up! Is mailing those out. Okay, so we already have You're the Best out here, and I'm going to grab the Fancy. So you've got a couple of different moms here, but I'm gonna grab the Fancy Mom right here. And so I'm using Memento ink for this. And I'm gonna do You're the Best. And I'm gonna place that right towards the bottom here. Give that a second to marinate. And then I'm gonna grab Mom. And I'm gonna place this right here. Just like so. Then we can go ahead and get this adhered to our card base. Let's put it on our card base the right way so we don't put it on there upside down. Okay, let that stick to that, get that good and adhered down. Now I'm going to grab those little embellishments again. And my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm gonna grab the little Moody Mauve, and I'm gonna place one right there. We're gonna do another one right over here. And then one more right up here. There we go. There is our second card using this fantastic technique. This time we didn't do any watercoloring. We just blended our ink onto white cardstock after we did our gold embossing. Now you can do this in silver too. I do have a silver piece right here. Honestly, I don't care for the silver as much. I really think the gold just kind of does something. Maybe it's this color. Maybe in one of the other colors, like boho blue might look kind of nice with the silver. I think it's just the Moody Mauve doesn't look good on silver. Now you guys might disagree with me, and you guys go right ahead and do it how you wish. Let's get an inside put into this card. Hopefully I have the right size insides. No, that is not the right size. So let me get a piece cut here. Oh. So I need a 5 1/4 by 4 piece, just like my front. And let's decide what we're going to do on the inside of this. We say you're the best mom. So what should we put on the inside? Should we do the we could only say, Mom, you're the best, and then add some flowers in there. World's greatest. We can say, you're the best human. I like that. Mom, you're the best human. Yep, because that's something I would tell my mom. Or we can do number 1 human. That's what we could do. Let me grab some more blocks here. I know I have another little tiny one. Where is it? Oh, it's way over there. Okay, number 1. Yo, number 1. Where is the word human? Oh, there it is. Now I was thinking we could put a little bit of this ink in the center here, just to add some of that color. Now I think that needs a second coat of ink here. That did not come out very nicely. That's what I like about our clear stamps, is you can always stamp over it a second time and see what you're doing. Trying not to stick my head. You guys don't need to see the top of my head, but I want to make sure I get that straight also. There we go. Number 1 human. And then do we want to add, I mean, we do have this little florally up here. I was thinking, do we want to add some flowers down there, or do we want to just call it good? I think I'm just going to call it good so I don't go crazy and screw it up. Okay, so now we're going to put this on the inside. See, maybe that's what it is, that the silver is just too light and it just doesn't look good. Yeah. Maybe on a, I don't know, I'm trying to think what would be a color that, I don't know if the blue, I don't even know if the blue you would be able to see it. Not sure. I don't know. I'll have to play around with it. Okay. So there is our Mom, You're the Best #1 human. That's pretty cute. But I just love how this turned out. I think it's very elegant. You can go, like I said, you could take this black piece off and not have anything there and just be able to show the technique. I kind of like the black on there. I think it makes it kind of stand out a little bit more. Ooh, I think I gotta stand up for a minute. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I think that turned out fabulous. So again, we've got 2 techniques using the rubber bands. So now let's go ahead and do our third one. Now our third one is using our watercolor, but we are going to use it in a full die cut image. So I'm going to use copper clay, and let's see, I need my card here. Sorry, you guys, I had to stand up. It was hurting me. Okay, so we have our card base, which is Hello Kay, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is just our basic black. Okay, that's our card base. Then I just have a scrap piece that I knew was going to be big enough to, this is where this die is going to come in. Again, this is called the, oops. Well, come on. Got them all shuffled around here. This is called Changing Leaves dies. And so I just need to make sure that I cut a piece that is going to be large enough to cover this area. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. I'll use that same one that we've already used the watercolor on. I will bring this over here. Let's move all of our stamps out of the way. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use that. I don't need it right now. It's just even more to make a mess with. I do need my paper towel because I am going to clean this off. And I need my big water painter. And so with this, as you can see, I've already done one of these, but again, I'm just gonna come in here and really get this, as my grandma used to say, sopping wet. Get it sopping wet where I can really see that water on there. And I'm going over the whole thing. Now I'm gonna come in here with my ink. And then you just start adding this on here. Now I do have a fan blowing over here, so it's going to affect the way my water stays on here. Oh, let's shut this off for a minute. And I'm going to get some more ink on here. There we go. That's what I needed. Let's get this inkied up. Get that nice and soupy. Now this would make a beautiful fall card. As you know that those in colors reminded most of us of our fall seasons. So this would be a technique that you could hang on to and recreate again during the fall season. Now, you guys, I already screwed up. I forgot to do my technique first. Ha! So, we need to cut another piece of this. I got so excited to do water painting that I completely forgot to do my technique. Okay, let's move this out of the way. I'm gonna try the embossing on top of that when it's done. I can always have more of these cards. Trust me, I don't think you can ever have too much. Make sure I cut that. There you go. Whoops. Let's try this again, shall we? Let's do our embossing buddy. We are going to use our rubber band block here. Okay, and this is when I am going to come in here and run these more on a vertical. But not keeping them lined up or aligned with one another. I'm just coming in, just adding the technique to it. So that is all I'm going to do with that. Now I'm going to grab silver. So this is where we are going to use the silver. Okay, just like that. Now I have a little bit of a mess going on here, so I'm just going to put that back in there like so. Now I'm going to heat emboss this. Okay, that is all heat embossed. Now we're going to take our ink and add to it. But you know, this time I think I'm going to try something different that I think is going to help with the keeping the ink there. So again, I'm going to come in with my full water and I'm going to get that nice and saturated. Just like so. Now I'm going to take my block, and this is going to give me some better coverage here, I think. And then again, just come in here and adding this ink on here. Because it's very easy to wipe our blocks off with this ink. But see how it looks darker in some areas? That's what I want because of the fact that we're messing with a leaf. You know how leaves have different colors and textures, that I really want it to have that realistic look of a leaf. Okay, so I'm just making sure I'm getting all my white spots covered because this is a big die. So just like so. Now I'm going to cover this up. See how that turns out after it starts drying? Look at that. It almost looks like a sunset. So you can use that for many things if you happen to mess up like I did. Get a little overzealous. Okay. Now, that should be pretty close to being dry, but we are going to go ahead and grab our die. Make sure that's going to fit that. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Now, the Fluid 100 paper is a little bit thicker, so you do need to be aware of running it through your embossing folder or through your embossing machine a couple of times to make sure that you definitely get that cut through that paper. So I'm going to cut it through, I'm going to run it through like 2 or 3 times. And again, like I said, that paper is thick, so it does take a little bit to make sure you really get it through that machine. Okay, so I did it twice, so let's make sure this is going to actually be cut here. I think we're good. Yep, I think that worked. Yep. So now, as you can see, there's our big leaf. And then we even have this little tiny leaf that we can put on the inside. You get kind of a twofer. All right, so now let's move all this other stuff and focus in on this card. So do you see the gold or the silver on there? Isn't that beautiful on those? Yeah, those definitely turn out fantastic. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my leaves while these are still a little bit damp, and I'm just going to fold them. I'll fold them up kind of like a little taco. Kind of just give it a little roll. I think it makes it look so realistic when you roll these up. Isn't that so cool? Oh, beautiful. Okay, so we know that's going to set there, but let's decide what we're going to stamp on here. I think I'm going to do World's Greatest Grandma. I think this would make a beautiful grandma Mother's Day card. Now, my grandma has already left this earth. And so I figured, you know what? There's plenty of people who still do have their grandmas around that they would probably love to recreate this card. Okay, so that's going to work. So let's do this one first. So I'm going to stamp the kind of getting an eyeball of where I'm going to place my leaf on my card. I'm going to take the World's Greatest, and I'm just going to stamp that right like so. And then I need Grandma. So let's put Grandma on another block. And we're going to do Grandma just a touch off-centered. Now if I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. I think Grandma got a little bit crooked on that. I think she might have been drinking. So let's flip this around. We'll just use that for the inside of our card. We're going to flip this around and go this way. Hey, Grandma, we're gonna do World's Greatest. Right, like so. Ah, much better. Okay, let's grab our silver. Okay. Now let's put the lid on this before we heat emboss this. Got a couple little stragglers there. Okay. There is that. Let's go ahead and fix this card so it's going to stay flat. Now we're going to take our leaf here and just place glue again down the seam, but I'm going to do it on the seam of those leaves as well, where we just folded those. I'm going to do that on the flat part of the rolled part of the, where we didn't roll, right, like that, because we want those to not get ripped off of our card. Okay. And then that is going to get placed right like so. Give that time to adhere down. You can always come in here and pull these sides up again to give it more of that rolled look. But look at the texture of that card. Isn't that fabulous? Oh, love it. Okay, so now let's grab our little embellishments here. And so I'm going to come in with the, where's my take your pick tool? There it is, sitting right there, saying, hello, I'm here. And I'm going to take the copper clay, and I'm going to put one right there. Take another one, put it right here, and then right up here. There we go. Then we've got those beautiful, oops, this one needs to be moved over a little bit. I don't like it there. There we go. Then we've got a beautiful card that really, that makes everything really pop on there with the silver on black. I do like silver on black. I think that makes for a beautiful card. Let's cut another inside piece again because I already know that I don't have enough of those in here. So this is where I'm going to add my leaf to the inside. Since it wound up cutting two of those, why not? Why not use that little piece there as well? I did have an inside piece already cut, but I used the Very Vanilla, which you could do. That doesn't look bad, but I don't know. I just think white looks much better with the, yeah, I think white looks better with the silver. Okay, so now we've got, this was from my other card that I cut the other day. This one is from the one from today. So I can lay that on there from where it's been cut and put that right on the bottom of that. And it lines up perfectly. So let's go ahead and add that. I'm actually going to try to fold these a little bit, not a lot, because we don't want a lot of lift in the inside of this card, but I think a little bit of texture would be nice. Just like that. And nobody's gonna know that it was a leftover piece. They'll think that we just cut it and put it on this card because it was meant to be. Because it is. It's meant to be with this card. Why waste that? Isn't that gorgeous? And we will put that in the inside of our card here. Okay, so there we go. We've got all 3 of our cards done using the rubber band technique and the She's the Greatest stamp set. So there's some fabulous ways of using the She's All That with our rubber band technique. Isn't that so fun? And it gives you 3 different ways of using this so you can really have fun, you know, going with different colors with this, trying it with different embossing powders. But that way I kind of gave you a good variation of using the different colors. So again, we've got our silver on our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Then we have just plain basic white cardstock that we have not used watercolor, but we just blended it on with our blending brush. And then we used our clear embossing powder with the watercolor fluid paper for that one. So it's kind of a boss reverse technique on that one. Then you've got the gold and then you've got the silver. I really love this leaf and how that turned out. And when you wrinkle those up, it just makes it look so realistic. Here's the other one that I had done as well. This one, I think I went a little bit lighter on the color, or maybe it's because that's not completely dried. But isn't that a fantastic card? And then I made another one of these for Mom. And then here's the other one that I made, but it's all warpy because I did it on regular paper and not the fluid paper. So see the difference, how it's all kind of curved up on the sides. It just looks kind of tacky, but our watercolor paper lays completely flat when that water has dried, and then you still get that beautiful vibrant color. Now this still is a little tacky and wet, so it's going to definitely darken up, or not necessarily darken up, but once it dries, it will definitely be more of a true color, kind of like what you can see on here where it looks a little bit different. It's because that still needs to dry a little bit more. But there is the technique and the cards for this week, for this Make It Monday. Again, be sure to get your brayers out. You can do this technique with your brayer. You can use your blocks. You go to town on this. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Please be sure to share your projects over on Pink Barn Stampers group. If you're not a part of that group yet, I would love to see you come over there. There's just a couple of questions that you have to answer to get into that group. It'd be wonderful to see what you guys create with this and the color schemes that you go with as well. Now, just know that when you place an order with me of $35 or more this week through May 4th, which is Sunday, you will get all the paper and cardstock in the mail that you are going to need to create this. I will also give you the silver ribbon to go along with it. I don't give embellishments because with the heat and all that, they don't do too well in the mail. But you will need to have the She's the Greatest stamp set to complete this, as I have here. Otherwise, you can substitute with any stamp set that you have. You will need to buy some rubber bands to do the technique, and that is it. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will see you guys back here on the 5th of May. So just know, don't forget that my paper share will end. You have until the 4th of May to get that in. I know some of you guys missed that first part of the video because my first video decided to crash on me when I had started. So, okay, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you guys back here next week. Oh, and don't forget, mystery stamping is still open for you guys to create your cards. You guys can go check that out. Pink Barn Stamper Group. The video is there. My card that I have created is there. You guys can recreate that by rewatching that video. And I can't wait to see your cards in there. You guys have already created a couple of great cards that I've been looking through. I will be doing the drawing for that this Wednesday, which I believe is, what, the 30th? I think it's the 30th. I put everybody who has created a card and submitted the photo of your card. I put you guys all into a random drawing, and you guys can win fabulous prizes from me. All right, you guys, take care. Thank you so much, Melanie. Yes, I will definitely be going and resting now. All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.